This morning, I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back on another edition of your favorite morning program. So wherever you're watching this program, thank you very much for always following. We are broadcasting from the Gambia, West Africa on QCell Avenue, Serekunda. So this is the Wednesday edition. And of course, we'll take a look at the African code, although there is no African code for now. But I think, or do you have the running order?
One.
You have the running order there?
Is this from yesterday?
Yes, it's the
I
newspaper.
think it's today's.
It's today's.
It's today's. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I was checking TikTok, I would have missed it.
I
was on the
okay, all right.
page, I would have seen it.
You know, most of the time the running order is incorporated with the African code. So I didn't see the running order, so I think it is incorporated. So we are good to go. We'll do that, then the newspaper review. And,
Indeed.
you know, today it's just going to be the newspaper review under African code. Yeah, so Mr. Adedrame
why
is here.
is that? Are you going to tell the viewers
Yes,
why?
we'll be having a live coverage at the launching of the Global Properties new building.
The Global Tower.
The Global Tower on Battle Hardin Highway.
And His Excellency the President.
And the President will be there
cutting the ribbon.
to inaugurate it, cutting the ribbon and popping the balloons.
Oh, will you do that as well?
You don't pop the balloons. So Mr. Momodou Mbodj is our co-host. And of course, Mr. Adedrame, the man in Dita color, is the newspaper review guest. Why are you wearing Dita?
Because it's International Dita Day.
You know what Dita is?
You know how long I've been in the Gambia?
You know.
Oh, okay, you know
really?
Dita.
I wouldn't know what Dita is.
But Dita doesn't have a scientific name.
It probably does, but I don't know it.
No.
Mangafere indica.
So, you know.
Mangafere indica, no, it's mango. You know, I forgot all the scientific names now.
There you are.
Yes. So thank you, gentlemen. We'll take a look at the African code. When there is enemy, when there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you.
That's an interesting one.
You know, when fish and water, they are very good allies. They are friends. You understand? In fact, we can call them chums, close friends.
Chums.
You understand? When the water contributes where they're boiling the fish, then I know the enemy inside is really doing some work out there. Yeah. So Mr. Adedrame, we'll hear from you first.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, I'm not sure that I even agree with the quote because it says, when there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. The enemies outside, those outside your field, they might just be stronger. It's not particularly that there's an enemy within that they can hurt you. So, for example, if we take it in the literal sense, if Gambia went to war against the United States of America, they wouldn't need enemies within to damage us. They're so much bigger and stronger than us. They could smash us in 10 minutes.
Maybe that's how you think. Maybe that's how you think.
We've got nuclear weapons, have we?
For me, I do not believe in that. I don't think the U.S. can beat Gambia. I'm not trying to.
You're not inviting it, but just in case.
But I was talking to a guy in the U.S. He said to me, "Look, forget about the U.S.
Yeah.
All they do is just to open call. Look at Iran. Look what happened in Iran."
This is a guy who lives there, right? Yeah, let him go and live in Iran. But yeah, so I'm not sure that, as I said, I'm not sure that I agree with it. I mean, it makes one think. But I think what they're also talking about is that if you have unity within a community or within a family, whatever, then, you know, it's much harder for people to penetrate, to break, to get, you know, to infiltrate and
unity
destroy.
Is strength.
And destroy. Very much so. Very much so. I think that's what it's getting at. Yeah.
Mr. Mbodj.
Yes, I like that take. It's quite interesting. Yes, at that individual level, I think it's talking about self-fortitude. When I'm strong, self-mastery, then I can deal with external, as it calls it, external enemies, as it were. I can deal with that. But you are right, in a certain sense, from the individual moving on to the community, sometimes I don't have any enemies within, and then a bigger external force can hurt me. You know what I mean? It's just reality.
The reality, yeah.
And when I go back to the individual, it seems to me that there are always enemies within. We are always fighting with ourselves.
And sometimes it's in the mind.
It's always in the mind.
Your mind can limit you.
That's it. We are limited by our mind, and we don't have control over it. That's why sometimes I want to remember something, but I cannot. I cannot command my mind to remember what I've forgotten.
Yes.
So I have just partial control over my mind.
Yeah.
So the idea that there's no enemy within, I cannot imagine it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's always an enemy within. I have
yeah.
to identify it.
Yeah, sure.
This is where self-awareness comes in. I identify my weaknesses and maybe have strategies.
Yes.
How do I deal with that? It's going to be a long journey, but at least you're on the right track.
I think you got very good points there.
He has a good point. I mean, just because you all know my obsession with Cape Verde, so I've been following their journey to the World Cup. And Ryan Mendes, the captain, said something. He said, if we had kept saying to ourselves, we're too small to qualify for the World Cup, he said, we never would. He said, but we kept saying, we can do it. He said, and we've done it. And that is the thing, that don't let your mind, your imagination limit you. And that is the internal thing that you have to fight.
You know, I believe when you say enemy within, the mental picture that most people have is an individual. You understand? But it goes beyond individual. Maybe sometimes even your personal addicts can become, the things you are addicted can become your enemy. But how do you control that so that you will be able to, for you not to lose or for you not to fall, you know? I think each and every individual, you have to master yourself. Self-mastery.
Self-mastery, that's the key. But how do you attain that? It's easier said. It's easier said than done.
Discipline.
Don't just discipline me. These are just abstractions. Because when I say self-mastery and I say discipline, so what actions would lead me to that? And can I do it? And we all know that, come on, we are victims of, to some extent, not absolutely, victims of where you were born, how you were brought up. Nobody had any say in that. But they form your character. That's the base of your character. Psychologists call it the formative years. So, you know, we are victims of so much. So in the end, you start discovering yourself. We discover ourselves. We don't invent ourselves. So through action, I realized that this is how I feel like in this situation. This is how I feel like in that situation. And as you're growing up with increased reading, educating, and self-awareness, then you say, oh, I need to change that. I love that moment when I say, oh, I need to change that.
You know, and yesterday I had a discussion with one of our colleagues from the editing room. I won't mention him. He can probably come and out himself. And I mentioned that I'd driven by the stadium, the Independence Stadium, on Sunday. And I said, it's really looking good. He said, it will never be ready. He said, it's rubbish. I said, when last did you go there? I said, I was there on Sunday. I actually went there on Sunday just to see. I said, when were you there? He said, no, this is Gambia. I'm like, don't think like that.
That's it.
You know, he knows who he is.
And
I said, no, you can't think like that. I said, I actually went there to see the progress with my eyes.
We have a phrase that we use in this country. This is Gambia. I think we need to change.
Honestly, because it has a negative connotation sometimes when people say
Gambia.
that. This is Gambia. You know, people will always turn up late for meetings. This is Gambia. We will never finish the stadium. Like, no, you know, you can make that a positive thing, where this is Gambia means something positive instead of something negative.
But you've realized, actually, this is just part of, this is Africa.
Yeah, that kind of,
I went to the bank the other day. There was this chair, this seat, for just 3 people. So we had 3 people. Somebody came in, And he said, can you push? I said, no, this is just for three people. And then he said to me, oh, this is Africa. Manako, shame on you. He had a foreign accent, Nigeria or something. I said, shame on you. So this is Africa, therefore anything goes.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
Nothing.
No
standards, no values.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just what is convenient.
If the chair is for 3 people, why should you
4, 5? Oh, this is Africa.
This is it.
So we've accepted the worst scenario.
And I will hold my hand up to my shame and said I once used that phrase and I got told off very sharply. It was my first ever night in Cape Verde. As we were checking into the hotel, the lights went off.
And you said?
And I said, this is Africa. And the receptionist, she was so annoyed. She said, what do you mean?
Yes.
I said, power outage. She said, no. She said, I'm 24 years old. She said, I don't even remember a power outage. I said, how is that possible? And as we were having that discussion, we heard a noise outside. And she said, listen. And you know what it was? The electricity company had been called. They'd summoned. The lights had been off for half an hour. And somebody had hit an electricity pole, and they were going up and down the road with a megaphone apologizing for light being off for 30 minutes. And I said to her, I take it back.
Can you imagine?
So I remember that very clearly.
Yes, can you imagine?
Yeah.
You know, but that phrase, we use it all the time.
Yeah, as you said, you know. And
you open your Facebook Live and this is Africa for you, this is Gambia for you. You know, sometimes people make it look very bad, while it's not that bad.
Actually, it is.
Because, for example, yesterday, like I said, I was having this discussion stroke argument with this person. And I said to him, I feel silly having this argument with you because I've been there. You haven't been there. And you're telling me how bad it is. I'm the one who's been and I've seen it. And you're the one with great force telling me, no, it's
so you see how people spread false information. You know, this is how it...
If a foreigner had asked him, he would have said, oh, it's rubbish, it's never going to be...
He didn't verify it.
Yeah, I went there.
Maybe he went the last 1 year. Maybe for the past 1 year, he didn't go to the stadium.
You know, but this is the important lesson is we have certain biases that are not based on evidence. See, this is really what was going on with this person. Hadn't been there for a very long time, but he had already made up his mind.
Yeah.
This is it. You know, this is Gambia. It's not going to
happen. It will not change.
It will not change. Yeah,
that's it. So, people who think like that, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If I think that I'm not good enough for anything, then I'll just keep on messing up. I have to believe that I'm good to do something,
but
then I'll go in
then
that
you
direction.
have to believe you are good at something, Mr. Mamadou Mbodj. When are we going to start believing in ourselves?
No, it is happening.
If you'd gone back 15 years ago, we never thought we would qualify for AFCON. We ended up doing twice. We qualified twice. So that was the mentality then. We thought, oh, we can win Zone 2, Amilcar Cabral Trophy, and that would be the height of our ambition. But as our players started playing in higher and better leagues, we thought, no, let's think bigger. Let's think bolder. That's why, you know, I liked McKinstry when people were saying to him, oh, you're in a group of death for this next AFCON qualification. He was like, yeah, bring it on. He said, you know, with the depth of squad we have now, we shouldn't be scared of anybody. And he's right. That has to be the attitude. That has to be the mentality. Not, oh my God, let's program ourselves to come last.
Why should you be scared of going into something? If you see you are there, you are supposed to be there. And when you are there, you need to perform like any other person.
You know, I mean, and just use it as an inspiration to kind of raise your game. You know, as I keep saying, if we had thought that we would never qualify for AFCON, then we never would. Yeah.
And the framing is not very helpful. We are not this, we are not that. Well, I am part of the we. There are many people. You see, when it comes to the we, you have a variety within the we. So what you need is like-minded people coming together, taking over power, and then implementing your ideas. You are never going to have a platform where everybody, we are all agreed.
No.
We've never seen it.
No.
The whole idea of democracy was to get rid of that, or at least voting.
Voting, yeah.
Because in the end, how do we decide?
Yeah,
we didn't know.
Go on.
So let's go and count numbers. You see how superficial it is in the end.
Yeah, quite.
Because we didn't want to have like a violent sort of society, change of government and stuff like that.
That's right.
So this is it. So in the end, that's all human beings are.
Yeah. Exactly.
In many ways.
Yeah. So interesting.
As usual, these things always give us food for thought.
Mr. Adi,
absolutely.
I was okay. I was okay. Like, what happened to that policeman on the bonnet of the car from Banjul Hagan Street to Manjai Kunda? You know, that guy must have taken a lot of air and wind. Because he was exposed outside.
The alleged driver has now been charged with murder, by the attempted murder.
Yes. So it was a really serious situation.
But you're laughing.
In fact, how brave that young man was, to do that. If a police stop you, you have to park and hand over your particulars. You know?
It was a crazy scene. A lot of people found it funny. I didn't. It was dangerous, it was reckless. And on the part of the police, they said that his finger was trapped in the door and that's how why he couldn't get out. And it is also alleged that he lost a finger as a result of that. I'm not sure how true that is. I'll find out from the police. But the driver has now been charged. It's in the front page of one of the newspapers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when I saw attempted murder, was it really attempted murder? The kid, I didn't know who was driving it. Reckless, stupid, but murder is intention for.
Is it premeditated?
Is it
premeditated murder?
I don't know.
If the vehicle was parked and this guy jumped
on the
vehicle, then he'll get. If he drove at him, then he'll go down. He'll go down for. And that's how the guy ended up on the vehicle. Then he'll probably go down for attempted murder because you've used the vehicle as a weapon.
But I think more importantly, that's a technical legal issue. So the wider issue is this: the driver kept on moving. There was a police officer. There's no respect. We see it all the time. We don't respect our police officers. But again, do they behave in a way that
we should respect them? Because respect you need to earn.
You earn respect.
You earn respect.
You earn respect.
In fact, I think it was really not necessary for the police to be on that vehicle that way. If the boy insists, take his number plate, or maybe you can report him to the police in front, probably. They would have even find ways to fish out the car and the guy, because all these boys that do this stunt thing, that's how they get them. When you get the number plate, you know the owner.
But we need to know the specific circumstances.
Because why was the driver so keen to get away? What had he done?
Why? That's it.
It can't be just that his license or his insurance had expired. You suspect there must have been something serious.
He's an unlicensed driver.
Could be, but all you get is a fine. You're not going to get sent to prison for that. So why are you nearly killing somebody because you're an unlicensed driver? It's a shocking situation. And of course people were busy.
It never happened in the history of the Gambia.
Well, just that we never saw it. And I'm just sorry, I'm a bit distracted because somebody's just contacted me when I told them I'm on air to say that we have an event for coverage. Can you cover it now?
No.
I think the answer is no, sorry.
Yes. So this is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. This is the program where we discuss and review the newspapers and other issues as well, community issues, social issues, of course.
And the World Cup starts tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Who's opening it?
The crazy World Cup.
Who's opening
it? The Trump World Cup.
Mexico.
South Africa against Mexico.
Mexico
is the first game.
Mexico. I can't wait to... I can't wait to watch the game between Senegal and France.
We're all looking forward to that one. All except the French players, probably. They've got a very strong team.
But they have a strong side.
Mind you, they had a strong side in 2000.
The last time when Papa Bouba Diop.
They went into that tournament as world champions.
Absolutely.
Of course.
There is this referee, I mean, whose visa was rejected by...
Not only just any referee, he was voted Africa's best.
Africa's
the
best
Somalian referee. And I watched him referee at the African Champions League just 3 weeks ago. He did a fantastic job.
Well, look at this. I mean,
I'm not just saying this because I mentioned at the time.
FIFA said they don't have to interrupt any legal immigration laws of any country.
They can't.
So they cannot.
They can't.
So if they reject a visa, it's up to the country.
America is doing its best to spoil this World Cup. There was an incident with Senegal players on their way to the match against...
The airport, I've seen that.
Against Saudi Arabia. They were, you'd have to say, detained, held up for a long time, searched. This is unacceptable, I'm sorry. And America, they're creating a lot of enemies with how they are behaving about this World Cup. There was also a thing on CGTN about Senegalese fans struggling to get visas to go and watch their team play. So it's this World Cup, in many, it's been politicized. Obviously, first time ever that a country that is at war with another country is hosting that country in a World Cup, Iran and the USA. Of course.
But what is it that this thing I'm hearing, that Iran has to play and leave America the same day and go to Mexico?
That's what the Americans have said.
Then come back to America. That's crap.
And FIFA have not said anything about it. What makes it easy in a sense is that it's not a long flight. You're talking about 2 or 3 hour flight.
That's a long flight, Mr. Ade.
2 or 3 hours.
After the game, when you play your game, it's a long flight.
You sleep. You're not flying the plane. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why is it a long flight? It's not long.
But imagine just finishing your game and going to your hotel room to relax.
Yeah, I know.
It's much easier.
But yes, I mean, America have put these restrictions. Again, first time ever that such a thing has been imposed on a team that's competing in the World Cup. It's turning out to be a kind of a diplomatic disaster, this World Cup. And of course, Trump will want to be front and center of everything, as he always wants to be. And that's going to spoil it even more. So it's a mess at the moment.
FIFA, they do not like governments getting involved in their operations. Everywhere, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But now they've got Infantino sucking up to power. Can you imagine giving Donald Trump a peace prize?
Peace prize. I mean, that was a
warmonger.
Joke of the century.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a rather very strange kind of World Cup.
Yeah.
They've been very mean, really. Yeah. For instance, about the airport searches, how they've been doing it.
Yeah, quite.
Then I saw one last night, De Bruyne. And even the shoes. Then I said, okay, let us analyze the security risks.
Yeah, quite.
This is an international star.
Yeah, quite.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Then why do I have to go down to his shoes?
Yeah.
Now, any security expert, now tell me, what are the security risks of De Bruyne already known? I can understand with somebody we don't know.
De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku,
all of that.
All of those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're all international stars.
World stars.
What's the security risks? I have to search your shoes, hiding there, possibly what? To do what?
To do what?
So this is just being disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's just being nasty and mean. Yeah. America is on drugs right now.
Honestly.
It's high. America is high on something right now.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's disgusting.
And it's going to turn a lot of people against them, I think, because of the treatment that they're meting out to people who are there to compete. Can you imagine if they get another Olympic Games or another World Cup, God forbid, people will just say, we're not going. Mind you, there might be a different president and a different regime and mindset, but this is terrible. So far,
I think it should have been a World Cup that people should have remembered positively.
It's in the word World Cup. You're expecting the world to come.
It belongs to the world.
And celebrate, the so-called Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game.
And calling America as the greatest country. I mean, I think...
That's what Americans
Yes, that's what they say. So I think they should have portrayed that so that people will definitely agree.
No, you now have a regime that says we don't care if you don't like us. We like ourselves. We think we're great. The rest of you can go to hell. They're not trying to create friends, and they don't mind if they make enemies. So they don't care. That's where we are now. That's where we find
ourselves. Make America great again.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's shift our attention to South Africa. I mean, Ghana been sending their people home back to Ghana from South Africa, especially John Mahama been very active. And when his people reached the airport, when they landed, I mean, he gave them, in fact, cash for them to start life in South Africa. Now,
in Ghana.
Now, 300 people plus left South Africa for Ghana. There's a guy that did a video and said, okay, now South Africans, Ghanaians, 300 Ghanaians left. Have you taken their jobs?
I saw that. I saw that. Yes. The guy, I saw that. It's gone viral. He said the jobs. There was one where they showed a shop that had been vacated by a Nigerian, I think, and the South Africans had broken into the shop and were jubilating that they'd taken it over. Let's see in a month or two's time whether they still run that hairdressing salon, I think it was.
Yeah, I said it's more than 1,000 people that left South Africa now, Ghanaians.
As I was saying when I spoke to Mr. Mbojo on Drive Time, you know, they were saying things like, these guys came here, they started barber shops, hairdressing salon. What stopped any South African from
starting it?
Starting those. It's just pure stupidity and jealousy. In fact, I was about to post a picture this morning because it was taken in 1976, and it said non-whites taxi, and it had a lot of black people sitting in there. And my comment on the page, a page called African Archives on Facebook, I said it seems that some South Africans want to go back to those days, the days of apartheid, when they were kept in their place. And the way they're turning on their fellow Africans is quite shocking.
Mr. Ade, there is something that I want to understand. I mean, South Africa, you have whites in South Africa, you understand? So I just want to understand the history behind these whites coming to South Africa and settling there and becoming citizens of South Africa. I just don't understand. I was expecting
do you know who is the
Africa for Africans.
Do you know who is the President of the United States?
Donald Trump.
Yes, he's of European origin. This is what Europeans do. They go over, they take your country, they take your continent, North and South America, Australia, New Zealand. The people who run it now, they're all white people, originally from Europe. But they come, they take your land, and they think it's their right. Like now, when you say an American, really, how many people, the first picture is of a Native American, what we used to call Red Indians in the
Red Indians.
You know, that's not the first picture that comes when you say American.
Yeah, when you say American,
their continent.
You see people like Donald Trump.
Exactly. It was their continent.
Okay.
They've been completely
Red Indians.
disinherited.
Oh.
You know, so that's kind of what they were trying to do in South Africa. These people, the Boers, the Afrikaners, they were originally Dutch people who came there.
1600.
You know. That's right.
Okay.
And kind of just, you know, and in the history books that they used to teach, they would say that God gave them that land and they had every right to, and that's what they taught. And that's when you grew up, there are even websites and Facebook and YouTube pages where people are still saying things like, oh, if only we could go back to those days, white people, you know, wasn't it great when we were in charge? And I actually follow some of them just to read the comments, and it's quite shocking that they think that those were the great old days, those were the good old days. Because they had black people under their thumb in Africa. Can you imagine? If we go to Europe.
But there's something that I've also realized. When you talk about South Africa, maybe the governance, the administration, the mental picture you see, it's only black people. You don't see the white. You don't see any activities you know, been done. I mean,
no, you haven't been followed.
There's a generational gap here, the way he's looking at it. Yeah. So that's why he cannot see behind the scenes.
Yeah, quite.
What's just going on.
And because of two things happened. So first of all, Malema formed the Economic Freedom Fighters. He was a former youth wing president of the ANC.
He's a National Assembly.
Theirs is the fourth largest party in the parliament.
The Red The red
beret thing. Then you have Umkhonto we Sizwe. That's Jacob Zuma. When he was kicked out of ANC for corruption, he went and formed his own party.
Okay.
That party is now the second largest. A party formed by a man kicked out of his own party for corruption. But people so believe in him. It just shows you why perhaps Africa would never progress. Instead of him being a figure of shame, he's now built the second strongest party. So talking about white people not being in charge, the ANC have been forced to go into a coalition to be able to govern with a party that was mainly the white people's party. That's who they're governing with now. So there are white ministers in the current administration. Of course, you need to look. You need to check. Yes, so they are. And when you go to the farms, the big farms, the industrial farms, 90% or more of them are still owned by white people. And they own acres and thousands of acres of land in South Africa. And as far as they're concerned, they're not going anywhere.
And the geographical nature of the living conditions.
We're going into the details now. What South Africa is doing takes me back to what is identity. You see, we've got this thing, this blackness as Africa as our identity.
Right.
Yet experiences keep telling you that, in fact, for me anyway, since I read this guy called Alan Locke, the first African-American Rhodes Scholar at Oxford.
Right.
Color is not culture.
No.
You see, we have found ourselves in this deeply flawed worldview, racism and all of that. These are social constructs.
Yeah.
They do not really exist in nature.
Yeah, quite.
So I deal with it at that level. Invented by man for your own purposes.
Sure.
19th century race science.
After
Darwin, they brought in social Darwinism and all of that. Started to categorize people. Some will even tell you from Aristotle, the great chain of being.
Yeah, quite.
See, so man, we are constructing all of these things, and on the basis of this, we go on to do horrible things to people. But in reality, it doesn't exist. It's false.
Yeah.
Color is not identity. Look at what's going on today in South Africa. In the end, the horse or the Zulu, that's more meaningful. Even in the Gambia, the whole of Africa, we are suffering the Gambia. We are Fullers or Mandinkas or Wolofs. We are not Gambians. It doesn't exist. What's our language? English.
Yeah, quite. And this is the thing I say.
It doesn't exist.
When I hear
we're
people
inventing it.
When I hear and I see people holding on to these, it's a colonial construct. All the borders, whether you're from Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Sierra Leone, Liberia, whatever. We did not invent these countries. Some white people sat somewhere and drew lines on a map. That's why even a ridiculously formed country like the Gambia even exists. It has no right to exist.
1884.
Going right down the middle of Senegal.
The Berlin Conference.
Can you imagine? I mean, I think Gambia should have been part of Senegal.
Of course.
If that's the case.
No. Senegal being part of Gambia.
Had the colonizers not done what they did, then these two countries would not have been a separate entity.
Maybe the Gambia should have been.
And do you know, it was only in 1889 that they took Casamas away from Gambia.
That's right.
Casamas is really part of the River Gambia, sort of ecology, ecosystem they call it. So they had an agreement between Britain and France. So we gave Casamas
the administration. Those are the things
1889.
Yes.
Not really that long.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah. So that's it. But Mr. Ade, you made a point. Considering the size of Gambia, although we are proud of our country, the shape of a finger pointing
down the middle of Senegal.
Or a tongue in the mouth of Senegal. So they've had so many different metaphors, as it were.
If at all Gambia was part of Senegal, maybe the Gambia would have been the capital city of Senegal, the whole Gambia.
Oh, you mean Banjul? Yeah,
probably. The whole Gambia would be the capital city of Senegal. And,
possibly.
Yeah, so let's shift our attention to Foroyaa newspaper. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV This Morning. First major rains bring widespread destruction
I saw that.
to central and upper river regions. I mean, we did not even record one single drop of rain, even drizzling here.
We had a drizzle one day when, in fact, you were the one who came in and told us.
In the evening. That was on a Thursday.
Yeah, and you came in and said to us, guys,
it's drizzling. I can remember 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, the destruction here, force rain recorded in the upper and lower river region of the Gambia.
That. I had to look twice at the date because, as you say, we haven't had, apart from that drizzle, which lasted about 30 minutes, and we haven't had anything approaching rain as yet. But obviously, we are approaching the rain season, so we're expecting it. But it seems quite remarkable that now, I don't know whether the destruction I'm seeing was caused by rain or rain and wind, because I see roofs taken off buildings, and that just can't be rain. So you do wonder, and I'm surprised at our central and upper river region people have not said anything.
Yes, probably they've used old pictures to depict.
Well, it seems a bit.
I mean, the headline.
That would be a bit disingenuous if they did that, and deceitful.
But I don't
almost.
think otherwise we would have seen this on.
Well, otherwise I'm asking our people in Central River Region and Upper River Region reporters, why have you not told us this?
What's happening?
If this is a true depiction of what has happened. Yeah.
Okay,
so what else has grabbed your attention then?
During talks? All right, let's still move on. Should we do politics in the Gambia, or are we tired of politics?
How can you be tired of politics?
Politics will never be tired of you.
So Barrow attends Dakar presidential meeting. I mean, the Observer 24. Yeah,
this one I was perplexed because I thought he was going either tomorrow or Saturday. The Senegalo-Gambia thing. They've had kind of ministerial one, and then the presidential one, according to Jomai Fai's page, was to happen on Friday. But this one says he's there already. So I don't know.
Is he going to wait till Friday?
He's been there already. And he's meant to come and inaugurate this
today.
So I don't know. But the picture, I don't know whether it's an old picture. I was trying to kind of work out.
Or maybe he wanted to say to attend.
Well, that's what I thought, you know. But our helpful host who brought the newspaper yesterday hasn't brought them today, so we don't know whether that's what
I think there is a discrepancy here.
A discrepancy, yes. But there might be.
Okay, let's just imagine that he's there.
He's there.
Oh,
it's for this, because, of course, Jomai Fai was here just recently.
And one day walking visit.
One day. So
what's going on?
Well, I spoke to somebody, and they did say that this was part of the preparation for this. That's why Jomai Fai was here, was in preparation for this Senegalo-Gambia meeting. So lots of things were discussed, including perhaps whether Senegalese troops will remain here. So we shall find out after the meeting, but I think it's on either Friday or, I think it's tomorrow. Is tomorrow the 12th? Tomorrow's the 11th.
Tomorrow is
Friday, the 12th, because it said in Jomai Fai's page, it said on the 12th he will be meeting President Barrow, but these guys have told us they met already. It says attends rather than to attend.
Probably it's
newspaper headline type thing where you can kind of get away with that sort of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
They always mislead. Well, not always mislead.
Not always.
But one should be very careful with newspaper headlines. They want to grab your attention, and then sometimes you go into the story,
and then they'll say to attend.
You see this disconnect.
I'm surprised you omitted the Standard. That's the obvious story. Come on.
Okay, where is the Standard? Task Force explains possible methods
to choose opposition
coalition leader. What are the methods?
I'm intrigued.
What are they going to do? I'm seeing
formula.
Lawyer Dabo here, Mama Kande, a very fine politician, Esa Fall, a very pragmatic politician, Talib Bensouda, very energetic young man.
Yeah.
I spoke to the chairperson, the chairman of the select committee, this coalition committee.
Okay, right.
So I think he was talking about, because I asked him the question, voting consensus. He said consensus.
Right.
They're going to go by that.
Yes.
But some of us of a certain age, consensus. I remember Nigel Lawson, former Chancellor of Britain, hated the word consensus. It is so weak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's go for voting. You always go down to the lowest common denominator for us to have a consensus.
Yeah, quite.
You can never get a radical, game-changing, as it were, vision from consensus. Never. I will dominate people I think that they do not deserve to be there and implement my policy.
What is the process?
Well, that's what we will have to find out, and because what has the task force come up with?
It's awful.
Have they come up with some sort of formula where maybe they get them all to kind of appear before a committee and state the case as to why they should be the coalition leader? If not, as you say, it will be fractured, and of course they want.
But do you know it's going to be a very complicated one before they come into an agreement?
Of course, that's
because each and every person would like to lead the coalition. There are people that think they are very relevant in the political scene, so they cannot leave their position for any other person. And there are people that think, I mean, these people should excuse us. They've been trying, so we are new. We should try. So.
And then some people will say, "Hey, just last week we were celebrating 100 years of next door, former president."
Yeah. So I mean,
like what?
That is what it is.
100 years. How many times he became president at the age of 73? He did not give up.
73 years. And he celebrated 100 years.
Last week.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
2 weeks ago.
World Bank says...
Talib, before that, Talib says the size of a party shouldn't matter in the way you choose a leader. So the idea of having a coalition and all of that, it should matter to us citizens, because you want a strong, credible opposition. You want a healthy, democratic competition. Sure. That's it. So you don't want weak stuff. We lose. We don't. It shouldn't be easy for anybody to just win, as it were. We want a stiff, democratic competition, political competition. So it matters how they do it. We've seen attempts at coalitions in the past. We were successful in 2016 because we had a special problem. Get rid of Yahya Jammeh. Anybody could have won. Anybody, we all know that.
Once there was a coalition.
So now it's a different kind of ball game. The kind of thinking you require now is completely different from what was in 2016. Now there is no clear cut, clear and present danger. Barrow is not Yahya Jammeh. Let's be honest about that. So it's completely different. Different sets of skills are needed to come up with the kind of coalition that would present a challenge for the incumbent.
And the only person who will say that size doesn't matter is somebody who doesn't have a party or a single member in the National Assembly. Because if that was the criteria, then immediately Talib is at a disadvantage. And I'm not sure, have they got their party registered yet?
Well, that's
I saw their beautiful white van over the weekend near the stadium, by the way, when I went to look at the stadium, and very impressive it looked, I have to say.
But we know in the end, it really doesn't matter. He can register as an independent.
Quite.
So in the end, he can register as an independent. I mean, SFL did it the last time, that sort of thing.
And so if you think you can pull.
But that's an issue.
I think doing all your paperwork properly to avoid confusion later, I think it's the right time to do that. Otherwise,
be careful. It could be that the problem is with them. It could be that the problem is with the IEC. So here I'm not going to decide one way or another. Don't assume that they didn't do their paperwork well.
Yeah, go ahead. Because they may well have done.
I said probably.
Yes. So that's all it is. Probably the issues could come from either UMC or the IEC.
So let's shift our attention to another story. World Bank says weak financial performance makes Gambia's electricity tariff among the highest globally.
Yeah, I saw that. I was quite shocked.
So we are among the highest globally?
Yes, we've known that for a while.
We've mentioned it before.
We've covered this sort of thing for a while.
Tariff?
Yeah, very high.
Yeah.
That's,
now you know.
That's ridiculous.
But
Why?
true. Why is it ridiculous?
Why is it ridiculous?
Small Gambia.
Imagine, I mean,
it's the cost of generating the electricity. It's high. Everything is imported that goes to provide it. So
Mr. Ade,
forces.
Let's resort to solar energy. Let us change all our panels. If they want, we can rent them Basse the heat there. You can put panels and panels and panels and supply the greater Banjul area.
Easier said than done.
Yes, but we have to do actions.
When you talk to technical people, storage is really a difficult aspect. So there are technical issues why the expansion of this solar energy thing, you have to manage it well. It's very expensive. It's very, very difficult. So we have to have a mix. Where you need to do solar, where you need to do this, where you need to do that. Mix. It has to be a mixed sources.
There's a kind of sort of European sort of anti-solar for Africa thing. I wish I knew we were going to have this conversation. I'll try and find the article, because the article said Africa has the wrong type of sunlight to be entirely reliant on solar. It was the most ridiculous article I've ever read. It was written about 5 or 6 years ago, but I've kept it. I'll see if I can find it again. It was the case. The guy simply did not make the case, because you have towns in Germany that have 1/10 of the solar that we get in Africa, and they have all their systems, or 50% of their systems, run on solar energy. It's a nonsense. It's expensive to install it if you want to run it on that large scale. Do we have $100 million, $250 million? It's probably to begin with, even for small Gambia. So it's not inexpensive to set it up as being the default.
Or to maintain it.
Maintenance is okay, because you just build that into the thing if you have the culture. We go to Cape Verde now, and almost everybody, everything is powered by solar or wind. And because they're exposed as an island nation, so they get a lot of wind. I mean, there are places when you go, the wind is so ferocious. And so they generate on that island. It's all 100%.
Our problem has been essentially managerial. Right? There's really nothing else to it. You look at the situation, what are our options, realistic options? How do we properly manage things? The current crisis, looking at potential sources for whatever, one can see what's going on. Yes, external shocks, we call it. All of these things will have a bearing on how things go here. But essentially what you have in your hands is managerial. If you can get that right, you have hope. But it's not working. Managerially, things are not working. We're just not running our institutions well.
So when we talk about third term, we only think about the presidency. But Mr. Jawara, I think one of the sons of former President Jawara, it's
one of the sons?
Yes.
One of the sons of children of former President
Jawara.
What's the person's name?
They just put the surname here, Jawara.
Okay, that's all.
Yes.
So it's a claim?
Yes. He said, no third term, no to third term must not be limited to Barrow. So let us see how we govern our political parties too. You understand?
Is this the Jawara who was here for 30 years? Is one of his sons saying that?
No, but this is it. So it's a claim. This is why I said, who? The person just said Jawara.
I remember the face.
It's a claim.
I know the face. I think he even once launched a book. You understand? So that's where I know.
Well, the person who did the book was Ibrahima.
Yes, I know the face. He is connected to the Jawara family.
Okay, connected.
Yes.
He first said the sons, one of the sons.
I am pretty sure he is.
So
you're telling me he was the Jawara family?
No, let us be precise in our language. I just like precision. Is the person one of the sons? Is the person connected?
I wish I know the
Show him the face.
Yes, you must know the face.
Bottom.
Yes. Probably
bottom right.
You would be able to tell us who this individual is.
It just says Jawara.
Because he was partly part of the Jawara family during the 1990 days. Yes.
I cannot see this person as being
the
son of former president.
Okay, probably after the show I will find
You'll
out.
find
Good.
out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so let us talk about how we govern our political parties as a party leader. You were there for many years, decades you were there. You know, continually you are there. Your grandchildren grew and they're still there. You're still there. So, should we start with our political parties first, Mr. Ade?
Start with them as in what?
In term limits.
In terms of
term limits.
Well, this is one of the things that was leveled at people like Khalifa Saleh, you know, and I just mentioned Abdoulaye Wade. When Abdoulaye Wade kind of stood down, the person he wanted to take up the mantle wasn't it was his son, Karim. He wanted Karim to be the one to kind of pick up the mantle of that party and fight the fight. And ended up not being able to also get the presidency. And it's a thing that we have here. There's a very kind of dynastic thing, not just in the political parties, but in governance, which is why we are the continent that has had more presidents who have been in power longer than any other continent. You know, we're the only continent that has a president who's been in power for 43 years.
Equatorial
40 years,
Guinea.
39.
This one is the vice president.
Yes, of course. And then you have in Denis Sassou Nguesso in Congo Brazzaville. You know, you have Museveni, 39 years. There are many you could call. You know, so it's not just the political party. The political party is almost kind of a reflection of that, and a lot of them, they're very much identified with their leader. You know, because we don't build kind of a democratic structure within the parties where you think the party is so solid that if this person is taken out of the equation, the party will still function, it will still go on. Let's take NPP, for example. Very, very much people think NPP, they think Adama Barrow. You know, can you name me the deputy of the NPP?
I don't even know.
Deputy leader? Not many people could. Our parties are built that way.
Yes, but you see, the way I see political governance ever since we started with monarchies around the world and all of the dynasties have always been part of it. Even in the US, we talk about Kennedy dynasty, whatever dynasties and that sort of thing. I'm not too worried about that so much. Term limits, I don't like term limits at all. Why should the law tell me whether I can vote for somebody twice or 3 times? That's a political decision, not a legal one. It shouldn't be a legal one. Yeah, that's why the whole of Europe, you're never going to have a political office, you've got term limits. Even the US, they introduced term limits after Roosevelt.
After Roosevelt.
Yeah, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is how do I make sure that I have a free and fair elections?
That's right.
Once I have a free and fair elections, people, it's your choice. Maybe you voted for my father in office. My father's gone. I've come, but I'm the son now. But my father brought me up quite well. You want to vote for me? Go on. My only emphasis is free and fair elections.
And you know, since I always find it amusing that I come to the Gambia and we have this conversation, because the ultimate term limiter is the ballot box.
Absolutely.
It wasn't term limits that got rid of Jammeh.
Ibrahim Jawara
is the person
from the US that sent the message and said, he sent a message, that was Musa Barsadi, Sadauda's nephew.
I know that.
Yes. So, you know, Ibrahim is a grandchild to Sadauda.
Right.
So he sent this and rectified us. Thank you very much, Brother Ibrahim Jawara, currently in the United States. He followed this program a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so as I was saying, you know, the ultimate term limiter is the ballot box. It wasn't the term limit that got rid of Yahya Jammeh. It was the ballot. That is the ultimate term limiter, not manufactured term limits, you know.
And have you noticed something? When everything is free and fair, the natural cycle of any individual, about 10 years, that's like 2 terms. Let's take Britain, for instance. Go with Margaret Thatcher. 79, one few times, but by 1990, it was expired, gone. Bring in Tony Blair. So when things are free and fair, that's the natural term limit. People will make sure that, you know, you leave.
Yeah,
because with any vision, it's just going to sell by date. At some point, you're going to exhaust yourself, and it moves on. I don't want term limits.
And you look at the British system, for example. I mean, we're having this discussion about a year ago, and one of the people in there who considered himself a political scientist said, well, in Britain, the Conservatives have always been the natural party of government. And so I said, okay, let me break down the statistics. And I sent him the stats and the governments. Do you know that actually the Labour Party were only 18 months fewer length in power than the Conservatives, which tells you that it's not a huge gap. That's not a big gap over 100 years we're talking about. 18 months longer doesn't make you the natural or anything.
Yeah.
And now, of course, Labour have overtaken them since that election, which brought Keir Starmer into. So the Conservatives are not, and even though they liked to give that.
And you realize that over here, we insisted on term limits so that we can have good governance and stuff like that. I'm like, what? It's not going to do anything. All you're going to tell me is that, oh, you've got possibly 2 terms to steal as much as you can. The time has been limited now, but it's got nothing to do with how we govern.
One thing doesn't follow the other.
One thing doesn't follow the other.
So when ECOWAS was saying all these countries have to have term limits, and they were saying that based on what?
It's complete rubbish.
I mean, in Sierra Leone they have it, but you know, only because they want it.
I think it's an idea from the Western liberal wing, the left wing, the soft, wet ideas. That's rubbish.
Go and tell Kagame about term limits.
All right, so a minute to the hour.
Yes.
A minute to the hour.
And then we'll be at some point going over to the...
We'll be drawing the curtain
broadcast.
here, I'm afraid, very soon. I wanted us to discuss the issues in Nigeria, Tinubu, since he took over power, the progress. I was at the barber shop a few days back, and I was talking to the Nigerian guy who was doing my hair. I said to him, how did you see Nigeria? He said to me, Tinubu is old. He's not handling things the way we want as people of Nigeria. Nigeria should have been the economic power of West Africa.
You know, people from the Gambia go to China and they come and tell us how wonderful China is. Even in China, I can't think of a single country where you will find everybody thinking that their leader, president, government are doing a wonderful job. It is human nature.
But the issue of Nigeria is worse, Mr.
Look, it's worse than what?
And even before that, you spoke to one Nigerian.
One Baba.
And the person said, we in Nigeria, have you seen what he's doing?
You know, quite.
He is not representative of what
Nigerians
think.
So you mean our proverb is coming again?
What you need to say is this. You, the individual, maybe your name is Adeyema, I don't know, you can be whatever, you believe this. But on the basis of that, I'm not going to extrapolate.
No. But that's how we speak. Those are normal conversations.
But
those
are
things we do.
One Baba doesn't represent 300 million people or whatever Nigeria's population is now.
So what you do, you carry on the conversation, but at the back of your mind, you know that, well, this is just one person's view.
But to be realistic, Mr. Ade, you follow current affairs, you follow most of these countries' governance. I mean, let's talk about Nigeria. What is the progress since Tinubu took over?
I mean, there are... The thing
power outages there.
Yeah, but he met power outages. He hasn't solved them.
But Nigeria have oil, Mr. Ade.
Nigeria's always had oil, and Nigeria has always been, if you look at African countries, they've been one of the ones that have mismanaged their oil wealth, probably worse than, maybe only Angola are on a par with them in terms of mismanaging what is an unbelievable, first of all, they decided to build a new capital city, Abuja. Cost billions. They could have just stayed in Lagos.
Murtala Mohammed. It was Murtala Mohammed who decided that. See, in the past year or two, I've just been so interested in Nigerian history, especially from the coup in 1966.
In fact, I wrote about that today.
That sort of thing.
Because Okotie-Eboh was killed in that coup.
Okotie-Eboh, the finance minister. He invented really the Bank of Nigeria and did so much. And they killed him with Abubakar Tafawa Balewa.
In fact, I mentioned both of them in a sentence because they posted a picture of him on Facebook. The person didn't know who he was. And I'm like, what? You don't know who Okotie-Eboh is? Yeah,
absolutely fascinating story.
Just this morning.
Nigeria is so complicated. It's highly complex. And Nigeria is difficult.
And a lot of coups.
It's difficult. Yeah, so
fiercely. Who is Babangida?
Yes. Maradona.
Babangida,
former president
of Nigeria. He took power. Coup or election?
A coup,
of course.
And
also
he cancelled an election.
Yeah, quite.
He cancelled Abiola, MKO Abiola. He cancelled the election, and then afterwards...
Moshood Abiola won the election, and he was like, no, we're not allowing this. Yeah, we're not allowing this.
And afterwards, he was interviewed. He regretted what he did because of really what happened afterwards, the consequences of all of that.
Yeah.
Nigeria is a fascinating
country. And when I asked him again, I mean, who do you think is Nigeria's best president? He said Omar Yar'Adua. I think Yar'Adua died in power.
No, I'm not so sure.
When he was still in office. And then Jonathan Goodluck took over power as vice president.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complex one because, different external forces, the rise of Boko Haram has complicated things, the rise of banditry. I saw this article when they asked the guys, so where do you get your weapons from? And they just laughed, because they were claiming, or they were hinting that, in fact, some of the soldiers actually sold them their weapons because they offered them so much money. So it's very, very complex. And now they've turned to banditry, as
when I go to Obasanjo, the first really to introduce universal education.
Yes.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And then brought in civil democratic governance when Shagari took over. So the best president, Yar'Adua, I think the person you were talking to is quite young.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion.
Exactly.
And has not read much about deep into
in fact,
his own
in
history.
His early 20s.
So I'm not so sure about the Yar'Adua bit.
Because some of them, there were times when, IMF and World Bank intervened and they had to take quite strict decisions, as you've been reading. And those things affected things. They were external.
The president, His Excellency, is already at the event. That's his motorcade there.
He's right. I thought that was your vehicle.
No.
For a minute.
I wish I had a vehicle, that type of a vehicle. Yeah, so he's already there. I know any moment from now we'll be connecting to Batil Hardin Highway.
Yes.
The Global Tower.
Global Tower. It's close to Espas, where Espas.
Yes, right, almost opposite.
Opposite.
Yes, the Espas. So, gentlemen, I think, I'm afraid, this is where we're going to draw the curtain.
We're doing an Esonasi, we're drawing the curtain.
Yes, we'll be back here again tomorrow for another edition of QTV This Morning. Until then, bye-bye.